Eyes on me.
Eyes on you.
So my name's Amy Sanderson. I'm a graduate student teacher from Charles Darwin University, and this is my final prac, final placement. So this classroom is set up as a play-based kind of child-centred classroom where children have the option to choose their activity. They don't have to spend 10 minutes at one activity and 5 at another, and they can choose to go from one to the other. This is really helpful for children to become engaged in what they're interested in, and we as adults can then extend that learning through whatever they've chosen to play with. This term we've been working on Recount for our literacy unit of work, and we've been working with the Gingerbread Man story. The children are working towards, by the end of the unit, they're working towards their own oral recount. So today's lesson I was modelling what an oral recount looks like in terms of story, and they were to participate with their own puppets. So keeping along, they could talk with me during that oral story, which most of them did. But the gingerbread man said, "The little old lady can't catch me, and neither will you. Run, run as fast as you can. You can't catch me, I'm the gingerbread man." I use lots of strategies to try and bring the children in. They're very young. Some of them have just turned 5, so they don't like being on the mat for a very long time. So lessons are kept short. Some children need to be in particular spots on the mat in order for them to learn and not talk to their neighbour. So some of the strategies I use to keep the children engaged and ready to learn are hand clapping patterns, which they need to repeat, little songs that they need to repeat. Wind the bobbin up, wind the bobbin up, pull, pull, clap your hands. Point to the ceiling, point to the floor, point to the window, point to the door. It just brings them back into their own body and away from touching other people and those kind of things. Lucky last question. Anyone who didn't like the activity? Leaf, how come you didn't like the activity today?
Because it was quite boring to me.
It was boring to you, so you needed a bit more of a challenge.
So if you're going to do that lesson again, would there be anything that you would change?
I think it could also be done in small groups so that those who needed longer stories or different stories or extension or more support could have got that. That was really difficult to do with a whole group. So I thought the student who found it boring, he could have been extended with a small group.
Yeah. And maybe it's sometimes nice to do a whole group activity and then maybe take those kids that maybe you see were having a bit of trouble, to take them off with a small group. And it was really nice to see that Nairi and Cassia were making their own video, and obviously they knew the story really well, and they were really happy to film it. And you could probably do that as an activity over the week. Get everyone in a small group and actually film it.
Film what they
and then
they
watch
come
it
up with
at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I think the lesson was really engaging today, the recount lesson. I think students participated really well, and I was happy with that level of participation. I think next time I would add a focus table for extension for particular students, and perhaps a session for those who needed some extra help.
How do you cater for the needs of specific groups or individuals in your class? How is it possible to observe or know whether a student's physical, social or intellectual development is affecting their learning?